Today I want to talk to you about paying for assisted living. Now, senior care in general is becoming more and more expensive. Assisted living is averaging $4,000 to $5,000 a month, and even higher in some places. And at-home care can be sometimes upwards of $10,000 a month. So these are expenses that are important to plan and prepare for. The first way to pay for these things is obvious, and that would be through personal funds. In the industry, this is called private pay. But this would be savings accounts, retirement funds, pension funds, the proceeds of selling assets, etc. This would be sources of funds for a private pay individual. Now, there are some government programs that are available as well, one of which is Medicaid. Now, if you want to do Medicaid, there are some really important things to understand. The first is that a lot of facilities don't accept Medicaid. And the reason for this is because the disbursement rates are low and the costs have been increasing. So for a lot of facilities, it actually costs more to care for the resident than Medicaid is willing to pay for. So make sure that the facility that you're interested in accepts Medicaid if you're going down that route. The second thing to know is that the application times, it takes a long time. It takes several months to get through the process of applying. So start early if you're interested in Medicaid. There's a $2,000 asset limit with Medicaid outside of a home and a car, meaning if you have more than $2,000 in assets outside of a home and a car, you don't qualify for that program. Now, a lot of people understanding this think that they can divest themselves of their assets just prior to moving into an assisted living facility and qualify for Medicaid. And unfortunately, that's not the case. The government has a look-back period of several years where they'll go and they'll look and see if anything has been gifted or sold below market value to family members that may disqualify them from Medicaid. So be aware of that. Another program that's available is VA benefits. And the VA benefits have a much higher asset limit. It's around $120,000. And so it's a little bit more accessible than Medicaid, especially for those who have, you have to have served, obviously, in the armed forces to qualify for those benefits. But those benefits come in addition to their current benefits, and it can be anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 a month to help pay for the cost of assisted living. Now, someone cannot do both Medicaid and veteran benefits at the same time. The only nuance to this is maybe if a couple is moving into assisted living, one can use the veterans benefits and the other can use the Medicaid. Additionally, they can be used at different times. So the same person could use veterans benefits for a while, and then as their assets drop, they may be able to use Medicaid. Just like Medicaid, the application process is long. So make sure to start early, several months, if not a year early, to make sure you get through that process before you need the senior care services. The other options available are, well, first is a reverse mortgage. You may have seen some commercials for these. The way that a reverse mortgage works is that it's a loan on the home, and the occupant continues to live in the home, but they're able to access the equity in the home. And when I say occupant, I should clarify. A co-signer may occupy the home. So if there's a couple and one of the members, let's say the husband needs to go to assisted living, if the wife is a co-signer on the loan, she can continue to live in the home and then use the equity of the home to pay for the assisted living costs. If she no longer lives in the home for a 12-month consecutive period, then the loan becomes due. Another important thing to understand about reverse mortgages is that any existing debt on the home needs to be paid off first before the proceeds could be used for something like an assisted living or anything else. Generally, the proceeds are tax-free, and so it can be a good option for a lot of people. The other two options are insurance products. The first is long-term care insurance. If this is something you're not familiar with, then it's probably not an option because this would have needed to be purchased decades ago. If your loved one's having cognitive difficulties, etc., make sure that you know whether or not they have a long-term care policy that may help pay for assisted living. These policies, just like any insurance product, have a lot of nuances. So make sure you understand what your policy covers, what it doesn't cover, how they expect you to, in some cases you pay and then they reimburse you. So just make sure there's no surprises there on that long-term care policy. Another insurance product that may be available that seems less apparent is a life insurance product. Now, generally, life insurance products pay out when the insured passes away. But there are provisions in a lot of life insurance policies where you can access it by selling it back to the insurance company for some discount on the face value. For example, if it's $1 million policy, you can sell it back to them for $500,000 or $750,000. You get that cash available to you now while the insured is still alive. Then obviously when they pass away, the insurance company keeps the difference. Some insurance policies require that the insured is terminally ill before that provision becomes available. But even if your policy does not include something like that, you can do a life settlement through a third party. And the way that works is very similar. A third party will pay 50% of the face value of the insurance product. And so again, if it's $1 million policy, you get $500,000 that you can then use to pay for assisted living. So there's more details and nuances to all of these. If you want more information, please read the article. There's more details there for you. And we wish you the best of luck on your journey, and we're always here to answer your questions.